Rick Bischoff, the Staten Island Borough Trustee for the UFA, and I'm joined with fellow firefighters and members of our executive board, including Vice President Bobby Eustace, our President Andy Ansbro, and our Brooklyn Trustee Doug Carroll. And we're all here together for really what's a terrific occasion for us to enthusiastically endorse Nicole Malliotakis for re-election for the 11th Congressional District in the state of New York. Let's give a hand for Nicole. This firehouse, as a young assemblywoman, this almost started Nicole's career in advocating for firefighters. This was a firehouse that was slated for closure under the Bloomberg administration. Nicole was a first-term assemblywoman at that time, and she immediately stepped up to offer us an awful lot of assistance to help prevent this closure. Since that point, she has been really a very fierce advocate for firefighters and their needs. She's never let us down, not even once. Today, as she's in the halls of Washington, she continues to fight for advocacy for firefighters, first responders, including her participation with the Permanent Firefighters of Droga Act and many others like that. So with that, I want to introduce the Vice President, Bobby Eustace, who would like to continue and say a few words on behalf of the Congresswoman.
Thank you, Eric. Public safety has been a big issue and is paramount for something for us. And the borough of Staten Island, someone like Nicole has been an advocate for us from the time in the state and now her time on the national front right now. And to have someone like Nicole continue in office in the national level and be able to speak on our behalf and have our support and have our ideals and tongue-tied for a second, to have what our basic needs in mind and be able to put those at the forefront and be able to speak up and not be afraid of what one party says, what the other says, is paramount for us and just so important for us moving forward. And she's got our full support, and we're very proud to endorse her today. So thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. I'm Andy Ansbro, President of the UFA. I represent 20,000 New York City active and retired firefighters. I'm very proud to deliver this endorsement. Nicole's been a friend of the UFA, New York City firefighters, for as long as she's been in office. Recently, she invited me down to Washington, and we personally spoke to a lot of leadership in Washington to fix the funding shortfall for the World Trade Center healthcare bill. It's very near and dear to us. She's always been supportive of that and us, and I could not be prouder to make this endorsement, and I know she will win this election handily and continue to work for New York City firefighters and the residents in her district. So thank you. Thank you for all you've done for us.
Well, I want to thank Andy and, of course, our local trustees, Doug and Eric, for this vote of confidence. You know, 2 years ago, I ran as a challenger, and the union had been neutral, which I respected and understood. But in this rematch that we have this year, I'm so happy that they are taking a side and that they're on my side in this fight. Because the truth is, we need to stick together. We need to continue the work that we're doing on behalf of the firefighters here in New York City. You know, I was a state assembly member for a couple of terms, and in that capacity, I was the ranking member of the Government Employees Union, and I developed a very good relationship with our police, our fire, our municipal workers. And during that time, I've gotten to know many of the firefighters here on Staten Island, and I really appreciate and admire the work that they do. Not many people would do what they do each and every day, which is risk their life to save other human beings. And you read about the stories all the time. In fact, we have a firefighter right now, Dominic, who is recovering. He's from Engine 166 and Graniteville. And thankfully, Eric gave me an update that he's doing well, he's doing better, he's still in serious condition and being treated. But just another example of what our firefighters do each and every day, and they even do it when they're not on duty. We've read of multiple rescues that have happened. And so it's not just fires. I mean, they work in all sorts of emergency situations. And in fact, yesterday we got to spend some time with the dog that they rescued in the East River a couple of weeks ago with their fireboat. So they are there for us whenever we call on them. And that is why it is so critically important that our elected officials have their back. One of the biggest things right now that we're fighting for, and I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of this legislation, and it's bipartisan legislation with Carolyn Maloney of Manhattan, that would make sure that our World Trade Center health program is fully funded. Unfortunately, more people are relying on that program than we thought initially. We're still paying for the effects of and the tragedy of 9/11. And so we had so many people die on that day, but still today, 20 years later, we are dealing with individuals who are suffering from related illnesses, particularly cancers. And so that is why it's so important that the government keeps its promise to make sure that we care for our firefighters, our first responders, and those who were part of that rescue operation, the victims of that day. And so I'm proud to sponsor that legislation to make sure that the funding does not run out in 2024, because if it does, that means the quality of care that our first responders who are being treated today as a result of what happened in that horrific attack, they won't be able to get that treatment. And they won't be able to add new individuals to that program who are being struck with those illnesses even now. So I appreciate that. And other bills that I've been proud to sponsor in Washington with my colleagues would make sure that our firefighters have the support if something happens to them in the line of duty. You know, whether it be disability bills, whether it be workers' compensation bills, whether it be making sure that their children have the support they need for college if something were to happen to them. These are the types of things that I believe government owes to our first responders who give their life, who are willing to forever be impacted, whether it be by a disastrous illness like a 9/11 related illness or by an injury that forces them to retire and they can't come to work again. So I appreciate this endorsement. I can't express to you how much it really means to me to have the support of our New York's bravest. And I am so proud to represent the greatest fire department in the world. And that is the truth. Everybody knows it. The FDNY, you are all true heroes. And to have your support in this re-election and this rematch really means a lot to me. So thank you, and God bless all of you. And let's keep Dominic in our prayers as he is slowly recovering from a tragic incident.